What is down, everybody? It is your main course, the Pancake, and today we're doing another tier list video. It's a Pixar movie tier list. Pixar has made some pretty good movies, I'd say. It's one of the animated movies, of course. And these are the movies of my childhood, quite frankly. So we'll see. There's quite a few of them on here. I think there's only two that I haven't seen, and they're both new movies. Came out like this year or last year, because this year just started. But the first one we have, this is going to be pretty tough because all of these movies are good, so it's going to be pretty difficult to rank them, but I think we can do it. First one is Up, movie about a man, got a lot of balloons. I mean, it's possible, but he would need a lot more balloons than that, and it would cost millions of dollars. I watched a whole 20-minute YouTube video about the physics of it, but we're not gonna talk about that right now. Up was a pretty good movie. It was pretty deep, you know. It had some like sadness in it, but it was, I'm gonna put it A tier. It wasn't a great movie. You know, that might be controversial. I know a lot of people really like this movie, but I was like, it's okay. But yeah, I'm gonna move it down to B tier. Move it down to B tier. The bar is going to be very high to get into S tier for this list. So Up, B tier movie, in my opinion. All right, next one we got Toy Story, the original Toy Story, the first one. Original Toy Story has got to be. It's got to be A tier. Okay, it's not quite S tier. Toy Story was good. You know, it's a movie that you're always gonna know. Everybody knows about Toy Story, you know. But it's gonna go A tier. All right, done. Toy Story 2. I think I'm gonna have to put this one in B tier, along with Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. None of them were as good as the original, of course. No movie is ever as good as the original movie. So, but they were all decent. So they're all gonna go in B tier. So, all right, next we got Monsters University. Well, let's start with Monsters Inc., because that was the original one. Monsters Inc. was a good movie. I'm gonna put it A tier. It was a good movie. And then Monsters University. Monsters University, in my opinion, was better than Monsters Inc. I know that's a little controversial, and I just said that sequels are never as good as the original, but Monsters University was a really well-made movie. Like, the plot line and everything was really well made. I'm not gonna put it S tier. I'm gonna put it A tier, but it's at the top of A tier. You know, it's above Toy Story and above regular Monsters Inc. to me. Okay, Finding Dory. All right, this is gonna be our first C tier. Finding Dory was just, it was too forced, if you ask me. It was too forced. Like, they wanted to make a sequel to Finding Nemo. They just kind of forced one out. It wasn't amazing. Still a good movie. It still had some moments where I was like, that's funny. And also, it came out not too long ago. So, I was kind of older, so it wasn't as good of a movie to older me than, like, Finding Nemo was to younger me, you know. Which brings me to Finding Nemo, which is going to be our first S tier movie. Finding Nemo is top of the line when it comes to movies. I mean, it just is. Finding Nemo is a great movie. It's just got so many great plot twists and turns, and just all around well-rounded movie. At least 6-year-old me thought it was. So, yeah. All right, next is Cars. So, the original Cars movie. This is a tough one. Because I could see it going in S, A, or B tier. I kind of don't want to put it in S tier. Because it's just kind of like, But, then again, this is a tough one. I'm gonna put it A tier. We'll put it A tier. Okay, next up we got Cars 2. Cars 2 definitely not as good as Cars, the original. It's gonna be C tier for me. It probably would have been D tier, honestly, if it wasn't for the Mater when he ate the wasabi. He thought it was green ice cream. That was a really funny scene. And that's the only reason it's not D tier. It just wasn't that good of a movie. Same things with Cars 3. That's actually gonna be our first F tier. Let me change that to F. Cars 3 is gonna be our first F tier. Just again, too forced. Not a very good movie. You know, it just was. It's just the way it is. Okay, next up we got The Incredibles. The Incredibles gonna be an A tier movie. It was a good movie, not a great movie, not S tier. But still, really good movie, good plot line. And there's been a lot of spin-offs that are pretty good, which brings us to Incredibles 2, which I'm gonna put in the B tier. Not as good as Incredibles 1, but still pretty good. Alright, next we got Ratatouille. That's an S tier movie right there. Ratatouille is one of the best Pixar movies ever. I mean, it just is. It just is. That's a fact of life. It's one of the best Pixar movies ever. And, you know, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, really. I mean, so many good spots where, like, he does this, he does that, you know. It was a little weird, though. Like, when you really think about the plot of it, there's a mouse that controls this ginger with curly hair into pretty much, well, at one point he basically controls him into making out with a girl against his will, which is a little weird now that I think of it. But hey, for a kid's movie, you know, it's pretty great. Yeah. Okay, so The Good Dinosaur. I don't really remember this one very well. I think I watched it. I'm not actually positive if I watched it or not. I think I watched it. I don't remember it being that good, though. I think it might have been C tier, honestly. I just don't really remember being impressed by it. I'm not positive that I've seen it, which, if I have seen it, that'll tell you it didn't make an impression on me. Unlike A Bug's Life. S tier movie right there. A Bug's Life is a great movie. You can't tell me any different. A Bug's Life is just a great movie. It just is, you know? I don't know how else to respond. So much happened. So much happened in that little movie. It was just amazing. It was. I got a Band-Aid. I cut myself. I was making chicken noodle soup last night, and I basically lopped off like a whole chunk. The skin was kind of flapped over. It's really weird looking, but it's all good. I'm okay. I think I'll recover. If not, you can come to my funeral. You're all invited. Okay, next one. WALL-E. That's an F tier. It's an F tier movie. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people really like WALL-E. I don't. Just wasn't the movie for me. It was. Just wasn't. And again, F tier does not mean the movie is bad. I know that sounds very contradictory, but F tier does not mean the movie's bad, because all these movies are good. Okay, all of them. But WALL-E is probably, out of all of them, my least favorite. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with that, but WALL-E just did not hit me in the right spots at all the time, you know? My biggest problem with it probably was that they didn't talk, really. You know, WALL-E, didn't he have like a few voice lines he could say or something? Or he could just say WALL-E, couldn't he? He'd just be like, WALL-E, you know? Isn't that all he could do? So, like, what's the point of that? It's kind of dumb. Alright, next we got Inside Out. Inside Out, again, a newer movie. It was a pretty decent movie. Again, kind of, like, hit on a deeper level. I think I'm gonna go B tier here. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go B tier. It doesn't belong with the OGs in the A tier spot. Next one we got is Coco. Coco is a decent movie. It did kind of get drowned out for me because I watched it like 4 years in a row in Spanish class, and that was kind of annoying. So, I mean, it got pretty annoying to me, which kind of makes me want to throw it in C tier. But it was really, I'm gonna drop it in C tier. I'm just gonna drop it in C tier. I know you probably don't like that, but that's where I'm gonna put it. A lot of people really like that movie, but it just got overplayed for me in Spanish class. Watching it every year for like 4 years, that gets old, you know. Next one is Brave. Brave's a decent movie. It had some good spots. I think I'm gonna throw it A tier. I do. I think I'm gonna throw it in A tier. I could be. Ooh, I don't know. It's not S tier for sure. It could be B tier though. I don't know if it's quite A tier. Does it belong with Monsters Inc. and Toy Story and Cars? I don't think it belongs with them, so I'm gonna throw it B tier. I don't think it matches up with that. So I'm gonna throw that B tier. I'm actually gonna move up into A tier. The first one we did, now that I'm looking at the list, Up belongs in A tier. Okay, now the next two I'm not gonna rate because I don't know, I haven't seen them. They're Onward and Soul. I haven't seen either of them movies. So I have heard Soul is a really good movie. It just came out, but I haven't seen it. And Onward, I haven't seen that one either. That came out last year, I think. So I'm not gonna put those in the list. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good list right here. I mean, as always, well, there's the list right there. And as always, let me know what you guys think of my list. Let me know if it's good. Let me know what you disagree with, what you agree with. Did fix the card. That one person that noticed that the card was messed up, I fixed it. You're welcome. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.